This is Geometry, section 10.7, area of circles and sectors. So, in the last section we talked about circumference and areas or lengths of arcs. Now we're talking about area of circles and area of sectors. So a sector is similar to an arc, where if we cut out an arc of the circle, a sector is really just this whole chunk of the circle. So a sector is a chunk of the entire circle, and an arc is just a chunk of the outside of the circle. So to start off, area of a circle equals pi r squared. You might have heard that formula before, where r is our radius of our circle. So using that, find the area of the given, or find the area, give the answer in terms of pi and to the nearest tenth. So first, if this is our radius right here, we plug that in right here. So 10 squared is 100. So our answer would be 100 times pi. Again, we always put the number before pi, not the other way around. It's like a variable, and then if I type that into my calculator, I get about 314.2. For this one, we need to figure out what the radius is. For the last section, we could either use the radius and double it, or we could just use the diameter, but for this one, we actually need the radius. We cannot use the diameter. So I have to take 26 and divide it by 2 to get 13, and then I square it. I get 169 times pi. Or if I plug that in, I get about 530.9. This one, I need to count my radius. It's 1, 2, 3 units. So 3 squared is 9 pi, or 28.3. All right, find the radius of the circle, given that the area is 16 pi. Well, we know area is pi r squared. So if I set those two things equal to each other, divide by pi, cancels out. So I have 16 equals the radius squared, which I would square root. And then the radius would equal 4. Same thing over here, 70 equals the area, so 70 equals pi r squared. Now when I divide by pi, it's not going to cancel out. So I have 70 over pi equals my radius squared, so when I square root that, I need to plug it in my calculator, and it's going to give me about 4.7 centimeters. All right, the circumference of a circle is 100 pi inches. Find the exact area. So circumference is 100 pi. Just like we did up above, we set it equal to the formula, but this is circumference, not area, so we need to set it equal to the circumference formula, which is 2 pi r. So again, pi is going to cancel out, and then we would divide by 2. 100 divided by 2 is 50, so that's going to equal r, our radius. So if our radius is 50, we want to find the area. Area is pi r squared. So it's going to be pi times 50 squared. 50 squared is going to give us 2,500, and then times pi. Same thing here, the area of a circle is 64 pi. We need to find the circumference. So if area is 64 pi, area equals pi r squared. Pi cancels out. R squared equals 64. Square root. So r equals 8. If r equals 8, we plug that into the circumference formula, which is 2 times pi times r. 2 times 8 is 16, and then pi. All right, so now on to sectors. I mentioned briefly what a sector was before. So a sector of a circle is a region bounded by 2 radii and the intercepted arc. Okay, so just like I was talking about before, this is a radius, this is a radius, this is an arc. This entire area is called a sector of a circle. So it looks like a slice of pizza or a slice of pie. So to find the area of a sector, we're going to compare it. We're going to write a ratio, or sorry, a proportion, just like we did with arc measure. We compared the arc measure to the entire circle, which is 360 degrees. We're going to do the same thing here. So 360 degrees, we're going to compare that to the arc measure, which is, again, this angle right here. It's the angle made between these 2 radii, or the measure of the arc, so it's in degrees. And then that's going to equal the area of the sector over the area of the whole circle, which is, as we know now, pi r squared. So applying that, if I want the measure of, or the area of this sector, it's always going to be the angle. So it tells me this is 50 degrees over the total circle, which is 360, equals, says find the area of the entire circle. It gives me the area of this sector is 35, so that goes on top. And then the area of the entire circle would be down here compared to 360. So I just cross multiply this. 50 times x equals 360 times 35, which is going to give me 12,600. And then I divide by 50, and I get about 252. Then I need to find the radius of the circle. So 252 equals pi r squared equals the area. I divide by pi, and then I take the square root. When I take the square root of 252 over pi, I get 8.96. All right, for this one, we've got a big sector here. So it tells me this angle is 72 degrees, but I need to know what this angle is because this is my sector. This is the shaded region. So the whole circle we know is 360, so I would just subtract 72. I would get 288 degrees. So that's my comparison to 360. The area of the sector is 277, so I put that over x, the area of my whole circle. So whole circle is 360, whole circle is, I don't know, angle is 288, area of the sector is 277. So I cross multiply all of this. 288 times x, 360 times 277 is this number. I divide by 288. And I get about 346.3. So again, we set that equal to our area formula, which is pi r squared. I divide by pi. That cancels out, so then I need to take the square root. When I take the square root of 346.3 divided by pi, I get about 10.5. All right, find the area of the shaded sectors. So now we need to figure out the area of the circle based on the radius, and then we need to find the area of the sector. So my angle is 72. I compare that to the whole circle. Area of my sector is what I'm trying to find. I need to compare it to the area of the entire circle. So the radius is 15. Pi r squared would equal pi times 15 squared, which is 225 pi. So I cross multiply this. 360x is going to equal about 50,893.8. So then I divide by 360 and I get 141.4. For this one, I need to know this angle. It gives me this angle, so I need to take 360 and subtract that angle. When I do that, I get 210, so I put that over 360. Compare that to my area that I'm trying to find, so I'll put A instead of X, because that's what we're trying to find, over the area of the whole circle. Well, the radius is 12, so area would be pi r squared, or pi times 12 squared. 12 squared is 144. So the area of the circle is 144 pi. Cross multiply. When I multiply 210 and 144 pi, I get about 95,001.8. So that equals 360 times my area. So when I divide by 360, I get about 263.9 meters squared. All right, this last one, there's two pieces. It says I need to find the area of the entire shaded area. So I've got this piece, which is 60 degrees. These are vertical angles, so this is also 60 degrees. So I can just find the entire area together instead of finding each piece individually. So if I have 60 degrees here, 60 degrees here, the total would be 120 degrees. This would be the same as if I just put these two 60-degree chunks together and I had 120 degrees. So 120 out of 360 equals my area of these two, which I'm trying to find, out of the area of the whole circle. The radius is 9. 9 squared is 81, and then times pi. Multiply these. I get about 30,536.3. That's going to equal 360 times A. So I would divide by 360, and I would get about 84.8. So you're always comparing the degrees of the circle that are being cut out to 360 equals the area of your sector or your shaded area over the area of your entire circle, which we now know is pi r squared.